Hello and welcome to video number 13 for Networks and Data Security. My name is Chris. If you don't know that by now, you haven't been watching. In this video, we're going to discuss the risk of data loss and corruption and the steps that you can take to minimize the impact and potential of that occurring. So, to start us off, how can data become corrupted and or lost? Well, we've already looked at ways and examples that this can occur local to us. Data loss due to disaster or due to malicious intent and that sort of thing. But for this purposes of this video, we're going to be more so talking about the means of transmission, the way the data is sent to and from a place and yourself, and how it can be lost along the way or corrupted in various different ways. In order to illustrate this, verbally, because I'm a talking guy, I'm mostly going to be talking about the use of TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, versus UDP, that's User Datagram Protocol, over IP, Internet Protocol. So, TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, is the most commonly used protocol over Internet Protocol, IP, hence the term TCP/IP. But it's also the most reliable. All protocols make use of packets to send information back and forth between the user and the server. TCP is kind of like that creepy significant other that turns on the confirmation texts, so did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you read it? Did you read it? You got it. You got it. You got it. You read it. You read it. And now you're freaking out. But this is good because your client-side machine, okay, your computer, your phone, whatever, it sends little bits of information at a time, and it's requests for information. Signing into a web page, for example. You're sending your username and your password. This data is sent to the server, and then pass or fail is sent back to you. Now, before that data is even sent, first is the request, the permission. The request for permission to sign in. If you get that, cool. What have you got for me? I've got this username and this password. Can you let me know if they're okay or not? If they pass? Yeah, I can let you know if they're okay or not. Great. I'll just sit and wait. And then you get the response. Awesome. This is a response to your request to sign in using this username and password. The official response to whether or not they pass is no. They don't. Damn it. I have too much fun with these sometimes. It's going to get me in trouble. But the acknowledgement of packets sent and received is how that communication, that two-way traffic, stays in line, stays in order, and remains so reliable. It guarantees that they will be ordered and arranged where they belong by numbering. And when a sender doesn't get the correct response, it sends them again until that confirmation is received. This is how things like P2P are built on. This is how things like that work. Any program that you use to, say, download a torrent, don't do that, it's illegal, blah, 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 disclaimer. When you bring up the graphing structure, it'll actually show you the bits and pieces of the files you're downloading. The only way that works, the only way that you can know for sure what parts of a file you've managed to acquire is as the packets come in, which may not necessarily come in the right order, but the file is built in the right order. Information goes where it belongs until it's complete. Now, the awesome side to all of this is that even when network hiccups happen, you lose connectivity, for example, or something interrupts the transmission, or your power goes, your power goes out, or you decide to pause that download because it's hindering your Netflix and chill, whatever. Downloads can pick right up again, right back from where they left off, and continue on like nothing happened, and continue to build the files that you were requesting until they're complete, and you're all set. It used to be in the days of dial-up, before download managers were a thing, that when the internet was disconnected or interrupted, you just lost the download straight up. End of story. Lost it. And then Gozilla happened. That's a pretty cool program. Next is UDP. Again, that's User Datagram Protocol. Also operates over Internet Protocol, IP, but nobody calls it UDP IP because that just sounds weird. Now, UDP works similarly to TCP, but it throws all that error checking good stuff out. Now, what this means is that the data being transmitted back and forth is done much faster because all of the back and forth guarantees and requests and confirmations aren't happening. Data is just sent. You ask for it, here you go, here's everything I've got. You're not going to get it in the right order most times. Network hiccups and troubles will interrupt or corrupt the data. It's not nearly as reliable as TCP is, but it's faster. With UDP, the sender just sends the data. Doesn't wait for any confirmation on it that anything's received. It just starts going. And if you as the receiver miss bits of information along the way, well, you're not going to get them. There's no way for your computer to say, hey, I didn't get this part. Can you send it again? You get what you get, and that's what you're going to use. Now, more often than not, UDP is best used when the error checking or correction isn't necessary. When you don't really care if bits and pieces are going to be missing because it's going to be faster, which is really the priority in these situations. The examples that I keep finding are really good ones I wouldn't have even thought of. But live broadcasts and online games. Speed is the priority in these situations, not the quality of content. But ultimately, you're still going to really get the majority of the picture. And streaming for online games, same thing. You know, when little things happen during the broadcast, the audio cuts out or the video has a couple hitches in it here and there, nobody really cares. You know, it's you're still going to get the experience, be able to catch the majority of what's being said and whatnot. And again, speed is the priority here. UDP is better suited for those applications than TCP would be. But let's assume that the integrity of your data is your primary concern. What steps should you take? One, when it comes to any data that's being transmitted, make sure that it's being sent via TCP protocol. And as we keep coming back to, backing up your data. Backing up your data is good business practice, and it's one of the easiest things that you can do to try and make sure that in the event of disaster, you don't lose everything. Now, as somebody in my course pointed out, Joey, my man, there's what's called the 3-2-1 backup rule. This means 3 copies of data, 2 media types, and 1 off-site. What this all boils down to is that the needs of your business are going to dictate the way the data is transmitted, stored, and secured. And in order to facilitate your use of these sorts of technologies, there are various software solutions available. You don't need to worry about any of that though, because whoever you work for is going to tell you what you're using, and you'll likely have no idea of how that's being done. So why do you need to worry anyway? Oh, right, no, because data security is your responsibility too. So make sure that you're conscious and aware of what you're doing with your terminal, with your software. Make sure that you're not taking unnecessary risks, and make sure that in the event of any trouble, you bring it up immediately. Make sure you pay attention to what you're doing so that in the event that you need to recall your actions, you can do so. All right, that wraps up video number 13 for networks and data security. This is 3, not 13. I don't know why I did that. Again, my name is Chris. Tune in next time, where I'm not really going to do much of this. I'm just going to make a bunch of fancy, pretty pictures of network architecture and setups, and I'm going to, I don't know, probably do some talking or something to explain and describe them. But we're going to cover the, graphical representations of a network. We're going to cover the typical setup and architecture and the way that you, as a user, can make sense of them if you happen to be looking at them online or in your manual or whatever. We're gonna talk about the way that these things are typically done. Oh man, I am hungry. Hey, Mama, make me a sandwich.